Have you ever felt that something is off? Not with you personally, but with the world itself. Like everything you see, wars, economic crashes, political upheavals, none of it is random. Every major event seems orchestrated, and yet there's no one to blame. Prices skyrocket for reasons nobody explains. Nations collapse, currencies vanish, and crises appear as if they fell from nowhere. And while this happens, we are distracted, enthralled by celebrity scandals, political dramas, trending videos. No one asks the most important question: who is really controlling all of this? Because governments? They're just actors. Presidents, congressmen, courts, they play their roles on the stage that's been set long before any of us were born. The true power? Hidden, invisible. Operating not through fame or votes, but through systems. Financial systems, media systems, educational systems. Systems that dictate your life every single day without you noticing. In this story, we pull back the curtain. We trace the origins of invisible power, from the dynasties of Rothschild and Rockefeller to modern corporate giants like BlackRock. We'll expose the structures that dictate wars, economies, and even the information you consume. By the end of this, you'll never look at the world the same way again, and you'll start noticing the hidden hands shaping everything around you.
The story of global control is not written in textbooks. It's written in ledgers, in the vaults of banks, in contracts and corporate filings. It begins centuries ago, long before television, before social media, even before democracy as we know it. Consider Europe in the 18th and 19th centuries. Empires rose and fell, armies marched, and wars reshaped borders. But beyond the battlefield, another force moved silently: the flow of money. One name stands out: Rothschild. Mayer Amschel Rothschild, a banker in Frankfurt, and his 5 sons created a financial empire stretching across Europe: London, Paris, Frankfurt, Vienna, Naples. Their power wasn't in armies or thrones, but in controlling debt. By lending to all sides during wars, they ensured that no matter who won or lost, their fortune grew. This wasn't luck. This was decades of strategy, intelligence, and a deep understanding of human behavior and economics. Across the Atlantic, another figure quietly shaped modern America: John D. Rockefeller. His Standard Oil empire controlled 90% of the US oil industry. But Rockefeller's true genius was in understanding systems, not resources. He realized the real power was in controlling distribution, education, media, and research. He funded universities, public health initiatives, and media institutions. He shaped public opinion, influenced science, and subtly guided government policies. While Americans debated elections, Rockefeller determined what subjects were researched, what ideas were popular, and which policies would quietly succeed. Rothschild and Rockefeller shared one thing: they worked in the shadows. Fame was irrelevant. Influence was everything. The history we learn today, curated by those who allowed it. Fast forward to today, invisible power has evolved. It is no longer kings or generals who control the world. It is corporations and global institutions. Consider BlackRock, a company that doesn't make phones, cars, or vaccines, yet manages over $10 trillion in assets, more than the GDP of most nations. BlackRock has stakes in companies you interact with daily: Google, Apple, Facebook, Tesla. Through algorithms, policies, and investment decisions, they influence information flow, public perception, and even markets without you realizing. Behind them lies a centuries-old financial architecture reinforced by institutions like the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. Ostensibly, they help developing nations, but these loans come with strings attached: privatization, deregulation, removal of subsidies. Policies seem beneficial on the surface, but often deepen dependency. Even organizations like the World Economic Forum and United Nations are dominated by billionaires, bankers, and political elites. They shape global policy, climate, AI, digital currency, without input from the people those policies affect. Look closer. Symbols are everywhere. The US dollar displays an unfinished pyramid topped by an I, Novus Ordo Seclorum, New World Order. Not fiction, not conspiracy, a philosophy openly referenced by leaders around the globe. The New World Order promises efficiency, connection, global equality. But whose rules govern it? Who decides the priorities, the ethics, the winners? Every global crisis, pandemic, financial crash, climate disaster is followed by a solution that consolidates more control, digital tracking, financial oversight, limited freedoms. The COVID-19 pandemic was a blueprint. Lockdowns, data collection, vaccination campaigns, all framed as safety but shaping behavior. Digital currency introduces programmable money, traceable, monitorable, even restrictable. Your financial choices may one day be limited based on compliance with rules set in rooms you will never enter. And this isn't just happening in distant countries, it affects everyone, everywhere. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, WhatsApp, Google, and YouTube are controlled by foreign policies and companies. Your data, your information, your attention is regulated beyond national borders. Education and culture are shaped too. Foreign languages dominate, global standards replace local heritage. Individuals grow proud of a system they did not choose, believing in the freedom they perceive, unaware of their role as participants. Yet, one thing remains beyond control: human consciousness, awareness, curiosity, critical thinking. Systems dominate only when generations accept them without question. Knowledge doesn't give control, but it gives clarity. History is not random. Wars, crises, financial collapses, they are orchestrated. Rothschilds, Rockefellers, BlackRock, IMF, World. The names that surface are just the tip of the iceberg. Networks centuries in the making operate invisibly. They don't need our approval, they only need stability. Stability keeps control intact. They want us calm, compliant, convinced we have choice. But in reality, the choices are curated, the freedoms framed. And yet, even pawns can cross the board, transform into queens, and disrupt the game. Awareness is the first step towards seeing the system for what it is, not to change it, but to understand it.
The truth is harsh. The system controlling the world is far bigger than any of us. The banks, corporations, and global institutions, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, BlackRock, IMF, WEF, they've built structures centuries in the making. They don't need recognition. They don't need your approval. Every war, every economic crisis, every policy you see has been shaped by forces far beyond your reach. Even your money, your information, your daily choices are subtly guided by networks you'll never see. We can be aware, we can question, we can observe, but the reality is simple. We cannot change the system. It moves on its own, unaffected by protests, opinions, or votes. The more we try to fight, the more it absorbs and redirects our energy.
All we can do is understand it, recognize our role, and live with eyes wide open. Awareness does not equal control. Knowledge does not equal power over them. It only gives you clarity about the world you inhabit. Yet, you can participate in the conversation. Share your thoughts, comment your reflections, and discuss with others. Ask yourself, what do I notice now that I didn't before? How does this hidden system show up in my life? Your voice doesn't change the system, but your engagement makes the invisible world more visible. In the end, the system doesn't need us to be pawns. As long as we continue believing we have choice, that is the strength of the invisible empire. And that is the world we live in.